Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Syahindah. Today, I alongside my friends will present our analysis based on two TED Talk videos that we have watched. The first TED Talk video is Inside a Mind of a Master Procrastinator by Tim Urban, while the second TED Talk video is How to Spot a Liar by Pamela Meyer. We have analyzed both videos and we will present our analysis of the two speakers based on 5 aspects, which is A. Purpose of the speech, B. Language use, C. Verbal and non-verbal cues, D. Mode of persuasion, and E. Visual aids. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. For the first speaker, Tim Urban, his purpose of the speech is to explain what is going on inside the mind of procrastinators and why they procrastinate using his simple, fun, and easy to understand hypothesis. Moving on to Pamela Meyer's TED Talk video, the purpose of the speech is to show the audience the research on why all of them are liars and the reason why the audience needs to go from lie spotting to truth-seeking and ultimately to trust-building. We can see that she wanted her audience to know the scientific ways to detect deception of the people around them. Also, she shows her audience the example of people being a liar in the videos that she plays.
Moving on to the next facet of the video analysis, which is language usage. First of all, both Tim Urban and Pamela Meyer use informal or colloquial language when delivering their speech, which suits their environment since the chosen topic tends to be more relaxed and laid back. They use contractions such as don't, didn't, and your instead of uttering the full words in order to save time. Seeing that TED Talk presentation typically have a limited time frame for each speaker to deliver their content to the audience. Not only that, but there is also a slang being applied by Pamela Meyer in her speech, which is the word herky-jerky. A slang further indicates that the mood of the speech is casual with the aim of informing the audience with new knowledge instead of a more serious intention such as persuasion. Hence, both of the speakers use informal language as it matches their occasions. In addition, both of the speakers' deliveries are free of technical jargon and obscure language throughout the entire speech, which makes their presentation suitable for the whole audience. Especially for Tim Urban, considering the fact that he was a government major previously, he avoids using the technical jargon that is usually found in the governing context. Most of the time, the audiences does not share the same background as the speaker. The range of the audience may vary from demographic differences to psychographic differences. Hence, both of the speakers did a great job at utilizing a simple and clear language to the audience. From our perspective, we can safely conclude that the content for both of the speeches is simple in every part of it, thus making it audience friendly. Lastly, both of the speakers' word choices are straightforward and comprehensible by the majority of people. The words and phrases used by them are carefully chosen in order to match the understanding of the whole audience without providing an unnecessary explanation. But there is a little distinction that differentiates both of the speakers. For example, Tim Urban's vocabulary usage is easy to comprehend with the aid of simple doodles. On the other hand, Pamela Meyer uses a slightly advanced vocabulary when presenting her speech with the aids of numbers and statistics. Nonetheless, the information shared by them is easy to take in since both of the speakers use mainly basic vocabulary with clear and vivid explanations. Consequently, Tim Urban's speech gravitates more toward a casual and laid-back presentation with visual aids that are simple yet effective, while Pamela Meyer's speech is more advanced since the content of her speech is laden with research such as statistics and facts from multiple sources in order to prove a point. Nevertheless, both of the speakers use informal language, free of technical jargon, and are easy to understand, making it fitting for everyone.
Naturally, elite speakers have the ability to apply all verbal and non-verbal principles in their speeches, consciously or unconsciously. Interestingly, they both have their own unique styles of how they convey their speeches while being able to keep their audiences engaged. Next, we will look at the verbal and non-verbal cues in the TED Talks. These two professional speakers are able to sustain the audience's attention throughout their whole 30 minutes and above speeches because they are fully aware of communication barriers and successfully avoided them. No jargon used, no usage of profanity and racist language, etc. One thing to note when delivering a good speech is that speakers must fully understand what their content is in order to define themselves nationally. In these cases, both of these speakers understood their content to the fullest. We know this based on their ethics and storytelling. For example, Pamela begins her speech by telling her audience that she wrote a book about liar spotting, which was obviously connected to her speech, indicating how well she understood her context of deception. On the other hand, Tim knew what he was doing when elucidating his speech about procrastinators. At the very beginning of his talk, he shared with the audience about his own personal experience in regards to procrastination, to which the audience can also relate to. Another thing to look at in both of these speeches is their tone of delivery. If we listen thoroughly throughout Pamela's speech, her tone is consistent in terms of her volume and her pitch. When she gets to her main point, she lowers her volume, makes brief pauses, her voice became much calmer. The reason for this is to separate her elaboration with her main points, emphasizing the important stuff for the audience to comprehend, but Tim's tone is different. He has a clear voice, and that alone can captivate someone's attention. However, his pitch changes whenever he delivers punchlines or his amusing jokes, as he did in this clip.
I just wanted to enjoy that one moment when all of you thought this guy is amazing.
Now let's analyze the non-verbal aspects of their speeches. There are 8 types of non-verbal communication. 4 can be spotted. We will go through them one by one. Number 1. Space. Since TED Talks are linear communications and are done in the public domain, space is common. Having said that, it's a bit different for Tim though, as he was much closer to the audience than the other TED Talks did, like Pamela's for example. This shows he is comfortable speaking at this distance. Still, it could just be because of the layout of the auditorium with the stage being closer to the audience. Next is time. Speeches are only limited to 18 minutes in TED Talks. Needless to say, speakers must convey their speeches within a time limit, not only because of the rules that must be followed, but the speakers must also be aware of the time that the audience has before they completely lose their attention. Both Pamela and Tim did not exceed time limit. However, Pamela took a longer time to finish her speech than Tim did. Moving on to the next type of nonverbal communication, which is body movement. Body movements reveal the intensity of our emotions towards the messages we convey. For that reason, Tim was much more demonstrative as compared to Pamela. In his talk, we can see him walking slightly on stage, nodding his head during storytelling, flailing his arms up and down passionately, all of which signified how intense his story was. Meanwhile, if we look at Pamela's speech, we noticed that she did not move as much. Body movement was present in her talk, yes, but only to a certain degree. She moved around a little bit, shaking her head, making hand gestures here and there, but that was it. Not to say that her speech was ineffective, it just indicates that she is calmer than Tim. The last one is paralanguage. Now, this type of nonverbal communication emerged a lot in both of these speeches, as I have explained earlier in the verbal aspects of the communication.
Based on both videos, I have noticed the mode of persuasion used by both of the speakers in their speeches. They use the logos type of persuasion. For your information, this type of persuasion is for speech that uses facts and logic. Okay, let's talk about the logos type of persuasion being used in one of the videos, which is about how to spot someone who lies by Pamela Meyer. Starting off her speech, she had already told the audience that her speech will share the researches that had been done on why all of us are liars. And she actually did tell about it in her speech by stating all the research on every point that she shared in the video. It differentiates between a speech that clearly comes from herself, which might probably make the speech hard to believe by others, and speech that comes from the study that had been done by verified and approved people in that particular area, which will have the higher percentage for people to agree with her. Furthermore, she had shared lots of facts about the reason people lies in their everyday life in her speech. And those facts are supported by the research that I mentioned just now. In this video, what makes it interesting to me, other than the speaker, which is Tim Urban, delivered his speech in such a hilarious way, there is this part when he uses analogy to picturize a situation inside the mind of a procrastinator, and it eventually worked. Plus, he delivered it in such a fun way to understand. However, his speech did not merely contain his logic, but of course, there are also some part of the speech which he included some facts in it too. So the video about spotting a liar is a logos type of persuasion because it is logos persuasion. Moving on to the next point.
In the video by Tim Urban, he used visual aids like graph and pictures to support his pitch. His visual aids did not contain too many words and it is simple and straightforward. This can be seen in the video when he explained how a normal person does their paper and how he does it. We can see that his graph did not contain any unnecessary detail, just a simple and plain graph. Moreover, he used graphical image like monkey, monster, people, and others to describe the role of each character. Also, his graphical image is big enough for his audience to see it. Furthermore, the text that Tim Urban used is also big and clear for the audience to read it. He also used a simple white background as his visual speech settings, as well as Pamela Meyer's thoughts on another video. She also used pictures and videos to support her speech. Her visual aids are also simple and did not contain too many pictures and information to help her. She used a certain pictures like Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Coco the gorilla, and others to describe the example of a liar. Moreover, she only used black text in her aids instead of using a fancy color to make sure that her audience will able to read it. Her picture is also well arranged as it is not distracting the audience to see it. Furthermore, the video that she used is also clear in terms of audio and quality. It is helpful because she wants her audience to clearly see and hear how a liar will act in that video.